Welcome back. South Africans have been advised to brace themselves for another week of rolling power cuts. This as Eskom struggles with further breakdowns of generation units and stage 2 load shedding is in effect tonight. It began at 5 p.m. and will continue until 10 o'clock this evening. And then from tomorrow in the evening peak period, expect stage 3 power cuts both on Monday and Tuesday. Let's talk about the country's power challenges or the power crisis. We're joined now by energy expert Professor Sampson Mampweli. Prof, a very good evening to you. Welcome to the program. At this point, I suppose we speak to you more than Eskom has days of consistent power supply. Not the most surprising news that we're moving to stage 3, though, is it?
Evening, Tembekile and the viewers. It's not surprising. I listened to the Eskom briefing some time ago during the time of the energy indaba. I was busy attending the energy indaba and looking at the various options that the mining sector has been trying to bring to the table in terms of the energy sector as well, because they are also hard hit. They are also hit very hard by this challenge. Looking at the current situation, it's got history. It started in 2002, 2003 with the publication of the white paper on renewable energy. That kind of flagged the fact that we're going to start running short of generation capacity in the next few years. And then we started with the building of Medupi and Kusile in response to that kind of a situation that was raised by the white paper in 2003. We all know how Kusile and Medupi went in terms of the corruption that took place there. We couldn't build it within budget. The budget escalations 3 times, and the design flaws that were associated with those power stations that Eskom is trying to solve at the moment. And we must commend them. They've done quite well in terms of solving some of those problems. In the past, we've been telling people that this load shedding will last for about 2 years. That was a long time before the lockdown. And we're seeing ourselves going into another maybe 2 years or so of load shedding, so we must brace ourselves as a country.
So you mentioned power stations. On that point then, which of Eskom's power stations are most useful and stable at this point?
At this point in time, I'm afraid not even the new ones are more stable. Especially on the coal fleet part of things. Some of the relatively new power stations are doing well, but we having problems across all power stations, I must say. You can't pick one and say this one is performing better than the others. For instance, you have trips that have gone beyond what Eskom has previously planned for, and that is taking place across all the power stations, including the relatively new ones. The older ones that are more than almost 40 years old, some of them that are supposed to have been decommissioned by now, those are also giving their own kind of problems. So I'm afraid we don't have, on the coal fleet side, the entire coal fleet is giving problems. And that is basically because of the fact that it was not properly maintained in the past. So with coal power stations, they need proper maintenance. And if you maintain them much better, you can go up to 80 years running them, So we have challenges across all the power stations. The ones that are not giving much of problems, unfortunately, are the ones such as the pumped hydro facilities. Those ones, unfortunately, depend on the energy from the other fleet for them to sustain our energy generation. And as we know, the Quebec power station as well, one unit is down for renewal and refueling, and that unit is only going to come back live around June, July. So we've got about 920 megawatts of power that is not coming online at the moment from the the nuclear power station.
That you mentioned megawatts, because from this latest statement out today confirming that tomorrow we're going to have to deal with stage 3 power cuts, Eskom says 17,640 megawatts of capacity currently unavailable due to breakdowns. Also 2,094 megawatts are unavailable. Those are on planned maintenance. Just how closely would you say Eskom is sailing to a complete collapse of the system? Because the refrain from the utility has been that the load shedding is a last resort to avoid a complete collapse.
So I would say we, in terms of the maintenance, because they're doing reliability maintenance, which basically means that if they stop their maintenance program, then the system will basically collapse in the next few months or within a year. So I must commend them on that, on the fact that even under the difficult circumstances, they're still doing maintenance. So the 2,900 megawatts is the part of the close to 5,000 megawatts that they had under maintenance. What is very much concerning is the breakdowns that are taking place. The energy availability factor, which especially of coal-fired power stations, is sitting at 62%. That basically tells us that this fleet is not available 62% of the time. And that obviously is divided amongst the various power stations. So I must say, in terms of, I don't see a total breakdown in the near future. Unless Eskom stops reliability maintenance and stops load shedding. Because load shedding basically is the last resort, like what they always say, to try and stabilize the system. Because otherwise, if we don't go for that, you're losing 17,000 megawatts plus 2,900 megawatts. And with our winter demand between 4 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning, and the 16 hours to about 22 hours in the evening. That's the time that we have the peak demand. And if you look at those times, those are the times that on the renewable energy side, we've got wind energy, which is helping a lot in terms of stabilizing the system so that we don't have load shedding. But on the solar energy part, we don't have a capacity at that particular point in.
Okay. Professor Sampson Mampweli, always good to speak to you. So thank you very much for your time.